Catching up with Sarah and Ginny, fueled by laughter and insights aplenty. Curiosity, connection, and learning that sticks. Real talk, real lives with practical tips. Welcome to Catching Up with Sarah and Ginny. Come on in.
Hello, Sarah. Welcome back.
Oh, welcome back. Welcome to Catching Up with Sarah and Ginny. Loving the blouse.
Thank you. Thank you. A little bit of va-va-vum, a little bit of silk, a little bit peacocky, kind of like the featherage. Yeah. Made an effort,
nice.
Sarah, made an effort.
I tell you what, it's always good when you make an effort. I like that.
And what I love is the fact that, Sarah, I know before we've come on here, we both put lipstick on.
I also know, Ginny, that I was known as the head teacher that would continuously put lipstick on. And I think that I realised by the end of it that it was a little bit of some kind of OCD type behaviour. But I just generally, I think, don't feel good unless I've got lipstick on. Even if no other makeup.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, isn't it? This idea of how we feel ready, lipstick. Every Zoom, I always put perfume on.
Oh, see, and of course, if you think about it, that's for you and not for them.
But I think if it
That's
just makes
really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it makes us feel better, I think it's about confidence, isn't it? I mean, I'll just say in my book, I'll just throw that in there. But in my book, there is a bit about how we dress reflects how we're feeling. And sometimes we might dress brightly because we want to be seen. But we could also dress brightly because we're feeling pretty dreadful, and it's like a bit of a mask, isn't it? And I think that's really interesting, especially when I am having meetings with parents. It's like actually that might be the armor or that might be the mask that they're putting on because they are feeling quite vulnerable. So I think it's really interesting this whole idea of how we present ourselves. No.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ooh,
I love it. I love it.
Well,
nice.
I mean, I don't know where that came from, Sarah, but let's just keep going with it. So
all I said was a nice shirt, Ginny.
Yeah. Well, and that's all I need. Nice shirt and I'm off.
My earrings. My dress.
Oh, nice. Mine tone-ish. It's all about the detail, isn't it, I suppose? But
it's all in the detail.
This is really fascinating because
oh no.
How much do other people notice, what we're wearing? I think on a day-to-day basis, possibly not that much. But I do have a feeling that when we both do talks, that people notice more because we are, especially if it's in person, we are standing there. It's a bit like in the morning when the weather person, does the weather, and round the breakfast table, we all have a conversation about what they're wearing. People do notice those things, don't they?
And I always, of course, because that's the thing with me, as my son says when I go in to pick him up sometimes at school, he's like, why can't you just be a little bit like the other mums? And I say, what do you mean? And he says, everyone notices you when you come in. And of course, I am, as you know, Julie, nearly 6 foot. So I said, it could be that. But he went, no, it's not that. It's just, and I think when we present, people know what I'm wearing because I reference it, talk about it, make some joke about it. And again, that's part of a mask as well, isn't it? Because you're kind of like trying to make yourself feel better by going, hi, here I am, and this is me. And
I mean, it's all fascinating. I'm sure some psychologists would have a field day.
Field day. Absolute field day.
Field day, but
Right.
So tell me, Sarah, what's your wow moment for this week or recently?
Recently, wow moment. It's been a really busy period of time again. I've been traveling quite a bit. So I think I've spent a lot of time on the train. I've spent a lot of time thinking. I've spent a lot of time interacting with a lot of different people. And I think kind of for this week, one of my wow moments was around the fact that, the importance of time. And I kind of think maybe that's going to be on a few of these episodes. The importance of time and the importance of when I've gone into places, we talk about the theory of the things that we know we should be doing or we know we could do to support this situation. But there's a mismatch between what happens and what we know we would like to be happening. And I think one of the kind of things around that I have delved down deeply with the school that I was working with recently is around having quiet reading sessions in your classroom. And I
Mhm.
was going in to support a school as a dyslexia kind of a specialist and talking around that. And we were talking about mainstream primary school, kind of some of the practices that happen within the classroom on a daily basis. And one of the things that was discussed was how they were really proud of their quiet reading sessions after lunch for half an hour. And we started to discuss some of the stuff that we'd done on the training the day before and around how would that be for those learners that are struggling with literacy?
Mm.
And actually, would they be getting something out of that? And are we therefore ensuring if they're sitting for half an hour with a book, which if they get into year 6, by the time they reach that age, they've seen this is what I should do at this time. Is it actually a good use of their time? Is it a good use of time for us to have on our timetable for those learners? And why are we still doing it if we hadn't had a chance to evaluate? And actually, some of the teachers are then coming out with actually, we are aware when we go around sometimes and ask them to read a certain words, they can't do it. And you start to get into that thing of, well, I know that really peer reading or listening to audiobooks together or group reading with graphic novels, comics, and would be an ideal. We haven't got time to create that situation. But every day we have time for half an hour for those learners who feel really bad about themselves, sat with a book they probably can't read,
Mm.
particularly within a quiet reading session, or even worse, reinforcing some of the bad habits that they've got into in terms of working out text by guessing, by just kind of, all of those things, and not having anyone reinforcing some of the stuff that was supporting them. So that
Yeah.
kind of was my wow thing of when you go down sometimes and start to pick of like people know what's helpful and what they should be doing and what would be supportive, but there's no time to match that to what's happening in the classroom. And it's that importance of standing back and going, what do we do on a daily basis? How do my children's experience of reading and writing? What is their experience? How does that reinforce how they feel about themselves as readers and writers?
Mm.
And then you can kind of question that. But we've got to have time, Ginny. My wow thing is we've got to have time to match up all this great theory and kind of research that we've got that's supporting us and what we're actually doing.
And I think you're absolutely right, and I think we can keep doing the same thing, but is it effective? And I have been that teacher who had a year 5, 6 class, and we had that quiet reading. And I remember when I unpicked it, I had one child who was very eloquent about telling me how they
Mm.
pretended to read.
Oh,
And
they all do. There's
and
so
and and
many. Yeah.
and they were brilliant. They said, "Sometimes I turn the book upside down to see if you notice." And I was like, "Ah." But it's having efficient systems
Yeah.
to actually see how frequently are the children changing a book, because children can have,
Mm.
if you're not careful, the same
The
book
same book.
for a long amount of time, and if we haven't got a system in place, and I think it's that half an hour is really precious time, and it's like,
Yeah.
actually, whilst the majority are quiet reading,
Yeah.
could I be reading with a group, or could we have a group who are reading as a pair?
Yeah.
Could we have someone with the audio? And it does take time, and I think it goes back to this consciousness, doesn't it? About
Mm.
and the interaction we have with children. I talk about this a lot, about knowing the books that we have in our
Yeah.
in our libraries, in our classrooms, so that we can have dialogue with the children about them. And so, no,
Mm.
I completely agree. Now, my wow links quite well. My wow is about doing less better. And my
Oh, yeah.
my fascination at the moment is it's about making sure that systems work for me, and
Yeah.
actually going, actually, I can achieve this today. This is what I can achieve. And I love color coding, Sarah. So in
Oh,
my
so keen.
in my anything I'm gonna do, it's very simple. It's, I need to do this, but I haven't. It's red. I
Mhm.
have, kind of timetable this in yellow, and then when I've done it, green. And in my mind, it's just great that I can see how much I can actually achieve
Mm.
per day because I put it in time slots in my electronic diary. And it makes, when you
Mm.
have no neck because your shoulders are so high and you're so
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Whereas actually, this is what I can achieve. I color code it. It's very simple, but I am doing less better, and I can see like this week is hectic. But then
Yeah.
I know next week is not as hectic because I've got everything mapped out.
And have you got that in your electronic diary? How do you have it then? I'd like to see a picture of this, Ginny. I want it, please.
So my electronic diary is an electronic diary, and then I can categorize everything into colors, and you can
Yeah, I've
personalize
done
it.
that.
Mine's on Teams. It's not a very difficult system, but
Mm.
Dale would be thrilled at this, Dale Pickles, because he loves anything like this. So I categorize it using color because you just can with Teams, and I'm
Those are
sure you can with
things.
Google
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. So and as I do them, I make them green. And if for any reason I don't do them, then I will do them as red, and they will be moved across. But I don't feel bad about it, Sarah, because sometimes I just don't get things done. But then I drag the one that I haven't done, say, to the next week if time allows.
Yeah.
But it's just very
Right.
calming.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. No, I think because you know that obviously Dale's classic one with me was about the fact that I had my calendar on my whiteboard, and so he asked me how I take it traveling with me, and I said, "Oh, I take a photo of it." And yeah, so I think now that he would be pleased, yeah, that you've got your electronic color codes. I like that, Jenny, because I've got things categorized. I've got them in a planner which has to do and all that stuff. And I wonder how that can be linked to my diary to color. Yeah, very interesting. I'm
There are
liking that.
there are many ways, which I haven't gone down that route. There are many ways that you can
Yeah,
have
I
to-do
like it.
lists within Teams and Google and all that. I have
Yeah.
mine is a very simple. It is a very simple uh, system whereby it's all um, in my diary under times of the day. So I don't have to-do lists. If I write notes for the day and I've got something to do, I immediately type it into my calendar so that I've got a time for it. And then at the end of the day, I have no to-do list because any notes I wrote, I don't know why, but I rip them up and put them in the bin because I don't need them anymore. So
Oh,
I am,
ripping them up's always
yeah,
good. Yeah,
ripping them up. I
like
mean,
it.
how great is
Good
that?
bit of ripping up.
Um, and I think it's what works for one doesn't work for another, but it just work. I just
Mm.
love changing the colours, Sarah. So it's kind of it's a very simple
I
wow.
love changing the colours. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love changing the colours. But also, I think when we think about our classrooms, you know, we have a lot of those things are static when we're looking at what learners are doing and how, but actually, all of that stuff about keeping track of their own stuff as well and
Yes.
having that opportunity for them to have the colour changes. I just
Yes.
think sometimes some of the systems we use would be really, really useful for us to be. I'm constantly saying when I go into classrooms about the importance of things being interactive, not just displays, word banks or zones of regulation or this, and that although it's tricky, unless the child's interacting or the young person interacting with it on a regular basis, becomes like wallpaper, which was a bit like what happened on whiteboard. In
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah. And
yeah,
then
it's still up there.
I saw recently it was kind of a visual timetable, but they were all on
Yeah.
magnets, like little
Mm. Yeah,
buttons that
yeah.
had been made that were
Removed.
literacy, maths, playtime, but the individual moved them across. And I quite
Hmm.
children, well, we all like a
Well, I like
magnetic
that.
board.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good as
So
well.
so
That's
the
really
idea of
good. Yeah.
a magnetic board, I mean, there's all of these things about now and next where they're smaller and they have the Velcro on, and the now and next board is the lid of a very shallow box. And so everything is together. They're on Velcro. You do the now and next, and the other activities are in the box with the lid. You open the lid and close the lid, and it's also portable, which I think is good because now and next board can be on a wall somewhere. But often children are not static. They are moving. They may be going somewhere to have as part of their sensory diet. So I agree. I think colors, moving things, it just
Also, you're giving them a little bit of independence with that. I'm just thinking as well, that whole thing about autonomy, and actually it's about me doing something for this. It's not you giving me something with it already all done with.
uh,
I then have some I've got control over that.
yeah,
That's really
ownership.
important.
So much is about
Like it.
ownership, isn't it? Ownership. Oh, Sarah. Yeah. So there we go. So let's move on to songs. Have you got if send were a song, what are you going for, Sarah?
Currently this week, Judy, I'm going for Under Pressure. Because I think that's I just think that's the song that we need to be thinking about. Because I think everything feels under pressure. And I think it's, when we look at the lyrics as well, we think about it, it's that, we're under pressure, but we kind of keep moving and we keep kind of doing stuff and we keep, we've got to be aware that we could be under pressure this week with this and next week we're under pressure with something else. And it's that kind of continual movement of stuff, and that actually the pressure is just, it's there, we're feeling it, but actually how can we change it and move it and maybe use some of that pressure to get the next step, but actually being aware that we're all feeling it, joining together, singing the song Under Pressure, and changing the mood. Anything that lifts the mood, changes the mood, but
Yeah.
enables us to keep going.
Yeah. And I agree. It is this idea of it being under pressure. And that links really well, once again, links really well to my song, which is 5-star System Addict. I
Love
know.
that.
I feel we could do a little karaoke, but maybe we won't. But
Love
once
that.
again, I'm coming
Love
back.
5-star.
I know, 5-star. I know. Um, and that comes back to, I think, when I am
Yeah.
feeling under pressure, I go back to my systems, because my systems are my savior. Sounds a bit dramatic, but they
Yeah.
are, because I go back
Oh,
to
no,
it.
no.
And when I talk to Senkos who are having all different things
Yeah.
thrown at them, I say, where's your system? When someone is saying, I've got this child who needs it, actually, if we have a robust system, we can go back to the
And what
system,
we do. Yeah.
and as my wonderful father would say, it calms the job down,
Yeah.
because
It's
if
true.
everyone knows what the system is, then we can go back to it.
And I think that's a really good point, actually, Ginny, as well. It's about knowing what the system is. And actually, sometimes we have a system, but people don't know what that system is. And the amount of times when I go into schools as well, it's that same thing. Like, well, how do we get to this point? Like, yeah, what is the system for that
Yes.
support to be put into place? Or we're aware, I think recently doing lots around, particularly looking at writing and the writing framework, and how actually what that's doing is it's trying to bring everything back down to the kind of explicit systems being in place, routines being in place, things being embedded, so that we can all know what
Yeah.
the systems are, where we're going with something. And I think it's that kind of understanding, particularly I'm going in saying, okay, so learners are struggling. What do you do? So when do you notice? How do you notice? What systems are there that give you an indication that this learner is maybe, not going to meet the expected level, or is, struggling with this aspect? And then if you know that, then you've got I love a little flow chart. What do you do to support that? Is it an intervention? Is it a bit more of this? Is it, and then if that's for 6 weeks, how do you measure at the end, or what impact do you look for to know it has made a difference? And if it hasn't, what do you then do? because actually nothing is fixed with one quick thing. And so systems are key. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got to make sure that there's a real clarity. I know this is happening in this classroom. This learner is really, or these learners are not, this is something which is not working, or they're not, particularly around reading, particularly around writing. So what do we do for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how do we support? Yeah. Nice. I
And
like
this
that,
idea,
Ginny.
the idea of, long live the flow chart. Boom, boom.
Oh,
Long live
you've
it.
got
So
to, yeah,
come on then,
yeah.
Sarah. What's your book? What book are you going to share with us? Mm.
Right. Well, I think on the sort of the notes that you were kind of were kind of talking about. Interesting, because I had a few books this week, but this was one that my friend gave me, and it's actually one which is a book that I go back to when I'm under pressure, and it's Big Panda and Tiny Dragon.
Oh.
And it's basically, it's kind of one of those books that you can just open at any point. My friends put in it, just remember when things get difficult that the journey can change continuously, because when things are tricky, the way that you're heading, you're deciding that destination by the next movement that you take, or the next place that you put your foot. And so it's got like, I was trying to think actually the other one that's a bit like that. The fox and what's that one there then? So it's got like so kind of like a picture and a nice
Yes.
little thing that said, the panda's going out. So it says, sometimes it's good to head out with no idea where you're going.
Ah.
And, and, and because
Lovely.
sometimes we don't always know what the destination is. What we might have is a feeling that this is where we need to go, or this is what we need to do, but we can't know exactly what will happen. And so I'm asked that sometimes around, if we go back to my thing about quiet reading, of like, yeah, but how do we know if audiobooks will make a difference, or if that's something that's going to be useful in my classroom? What's useful is making sure that we're giving learners that opportunity to experience books everywhere, text everywhere, life, different views of life, different places. So actually, what we can think about is, I'm going to get access to audiobooks, some great free audiobooks that you can get, listening books, Calibri. And then it might take us this place. Do you know what? It might not take us to them wanting to engage more with reading, but it might give them that opportunity to know that I really like this author. Oh, I really liked hearing about India. I'd like to find out a bit more about India. So it's that kind of thing, Ginny. So yes, a little bit long-winded. It's just got some nice little quotes that when you're a bit lost or feeling under pressure, you might open your book and you might say, each decision you make on your journey takes you closer or further from where you want to go.
And Sarah, you will not believe the book I've chosen.
Go on. Go on. Oh, there you
I
go.
have
That's
chosen
the one.
The
We
Boy,
didn't
the
know what we were
Mole.
going to choose.
I mean, that is remarkable. I have The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. I can't believe that of
Amazing.
all the books that we could
Yeah.
choose, we are kind of, I don't know, we're just kind of
Yeah.
linked.
Because we literally have not discussed this.
No,
That's so
no,
funny.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, that is uncanny. And the reason
Yeah.
that I love this book is very similar to what you say,
Yeah.
Sarah, that if you're feeling a little bit down, or you need a little bit of a pick me up, you open the book. I'm going to open the book.
Yeah.
And this one is, when have you been at your strongest? Asked the boy. When I have dared to show my weakness.
Mm.
Boom.
Oh, don't. Been an emotional week, Ginny, and it's only Monday.
And it's only Monday. I mean, it's just, and on the same page, asking for help isn't giving up, said the horse. It's refusing to give up. And I think these quotes, they do get us, but they kind of make us think in a different way, or make us go, oh, actually, do you know what? I can get through this difficult time. And the Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie, is it Macquarie or Mackesy? I can't see it from Mackesy.
Mackenzie, I thought it was. But that's
Mackenzie.
my dyslexic brain. I don't think I've got any idea.
It, I just think it's a lovely way to end this episode. It's about finding those words or finding those people when it all gets a little bit much, to kind of help us
Shift.
Yes, and put things into a context. Shift our mindset, help us to see things differently in a kind way. Oh, what a great way to end this.
Well, just, I'm never very good at ending things, but it is that real, I did hear something this week about making sure that you have a toolbox of things that will shift your mind, shift your thinking, and also find out from our young people what shifts theirs.
Yes.
Because actually, if they struggle with text and access, that may not be. So actually thinking around, and when you said about putting perfume on, or when you've got a lovely bit of music that you listen to that shifts your thinking and makes you feel something different, and that our thoughts aren't fixed. We're not in a fixed state. It can always be moved and changed.
Yes, it can. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Just fabulous chatting with you as always. And what do we say? Always a pleasure.
Never a chore, Ginny. Never a chore.
Never a chore. Okay, bye for now.
Wonderful.
Then.
Thanks for joining us this time on Catching Up with Sarah and Ginny.
Always a pleasure and never a chore.